wanted to share this dream because it's about how we put our own lens or our own viewpoint on the dream. So this happens while we're dreaming, just like it happens in waking life, that we put our own judgments or our filter or our lens on situations that happen. So just like in real life, we do this in our dreams. So I just wanted to point that out because the message of the dream is very beautiful, but the way that the person who's dreaming sees the message, they see it in a very different way. Okay, so this dream is called Visiting an Old Underground World. She says, I was in an old, decrepit building, apparently a boarding house or hotel. There was a simple, tender, and modest woman. And so, what I'll say about that first part is her viewpoint of herself is that she is essentially old and decrepit, kind of like I'm falling apart. That's really what it means. And the hotel or boarding house is about birth. So, why is that about birth? Well, at hotels, we are received by this world or by our family or our mother. And even a boarding house, that's a place where you go and temporarily live for a while. So, this person is dreaming about what it was like to coming into this existence, to be born and for her mother to give birth, and how did she feel at birth. Well, the dream says how she felt like as soon as she was born things were falling apart. That's what the old decrepit building is. The building is essentially about her body. And the simple, tender, modest woman is her mom, but at the same time it's her, the dreamer. Because you can look at just about every symbol in the dream and relate it to yourself. So, at any rate, in a narrow entrance hall of the building, and so the entrance hall makes it also about birth because what happens when we're conceived? Well, we go through a long hallway, right? If a building is our body, a long hallway is the birth canal. So she sees this narrow entrance hall of this building, and there's a mafioso looking man, and he throws a package or a gift into her hand and walks away. Inside this package are boxes like glasses cases, and she keeps them in her hands but doesn't open them or pass them on to anybody. She feels that these gifts are suspicious to her. So what also makes this a birth dream is the fact that gifts show up, boxes show up. Boxes are about the womb also. And so her gift is that she has an amazing gift of clairvoyance. That's what the glasses are in this dream. But she sees that as suspicious. She doesn't open the gift. She doesn't pass on her gift to anybody, meaning she doesn't use that gift. So, what you can see right away is that when she came into this lifetime, she thought, well, life is terrible. Why would I bring this beautiful gift into this lifetime? Why would I use it? So she disconnected with her gift at birth. The mafioso man also is the experience that she had from dad growing up. Why would dad give her a gift in this dream? Well, one thing is that she's a hands-on healer, and you know that also by the fact that the gift is in her hands, and the hands-on healing gift is a very masculine energy gift, and so that's why it's associated with dad. But also, just the fact that she was born associates her with dad too, and there's more about that, which I'll talk about in a minute. So a girl enters the hall. Remember, the hall is the birth canal, the girl is the dreamer. So she's now entering the birth canal, and she presses a button on a funny and curious contraption or a slot machine that runs on alcohol. And I put dad here in parentheses because this dreamer's dad was an alcoholic. So you can see that that this slot machine that gives out prizes is dad. um, she runs off amused, something in her hand, a prize from the machine. She looked at it and watched curiously. She always thought there was this strange package in her hand. She didn't want to open it. She didn't know what to do with it. And then we have the woman who is the concierge of the building. And so this is mom's influence. Well, was mom influence, had a heavy influence in her birth? Yes, mom was certainly there for her birth. So mom was also in charge of this strange slot machine, which meant that mom was in charge of dad, right? And she tried to convince the dreamer to invest and to try a full game. So in this dream, this person isn't even born yet. This dreamer is looking at what could become of her if she were to be born. So she's kind of exploring the mom's body, let's say, and exploring the family dynamic and seeing if this is something that she wants to come into. And what she and mom is trying to convince her to go ahead and invest her time and come into it. When we see games in a dream, it is about the game of life and getting into life and everything we need to do, playing the game that's in life. So she says now, out of curiosity, without being a least bit interested in playing, I ask her how much it would cost. And so apparently it would cost a lot of money. So she would have to invest herself fully, invest her heart, which is what money is about in dreams, in order to come into this lifetime. So she continues seeing this package in her hand, and she says, I have nothing to invest, and I never would want to play. And I just want to get rid of that package as quickly as possible. Okay. So what this is showing is that the dreamer does not want to be here. She doesn't want anything to do with it. She's not interested in, at least at birth and through her life, not interested in playing this game that we call life. And of course, when I talked to her, she said that's absolutely what is happening to me. And she does go through periods of depression and just periods of what am I even doing here? And the other interesting parallel in this dream is that she doesn't feel like her birth, her entrance onto this planet was a gift. And so that's the other layer that the gift is representing in this dream. It's all about the gift of birth that her mom and her dad gave to her. And she doesn't see it that way. She does not see babies as a gift, at least for herself. And she never did have a child herself either. And that's because she just never thought that it was a good thing to have a child. So this is what this dreamer needs to overcome, is the trauma of just not even wanting to be here. But eventually, it looks like she decided to come in, but she has forgotten all of this. She's forgotten why she was disconnected from life. She's forgotten where that came from, and now she knows. She knows that that came from birth. And so most likely what happens when you have a birth dream like this is that it comes from a, a previous existence. When we have birth dreams like this, what it's telling us is that we came in with this wound. It actually wasn't anything that mom or dad did, although mom and dad would kind of anchor the wound in by just probably being themselves. But the bigger wound comes from a different set of parents, or, just a different dimension, if you will. It's helpful just to at least have some answer as to why this person, for example, has gone through her entire life feeling like she doesn't want to be here,
Yeah,
and she can't think of where that would have come from. That's a very common thing to see in a birth wound dream.
I see. Yeah, the most important thing is the message actually resonate with the dreamer. If they resonate with your interpretation, then it's what they're supposed to get from the